One of I think your life story in the one that you wrote about your pain story.
Yeah.
I thought we'd really love to talk about it. It's very, very powerful book.
Yeah.
Why do you title The Cry of the Bride? Is it?
Yeah, The Tears for My Bride.
Tears of the Bride.
Yeah.
So what made you to give the title?
So Tears for My Bride is because of a tragedy that I've been through with losing my first wife. And the subtitle, the full title is Tears for My Bride, When Grown Men Cry. And a lot of times we go through life being taught as men, as you know, in our culture, that men don't cry. We got to hide our feelings, we got to bottle up. And I realized when you go through life, when you go through a number of different challenges, men bottle a lot on the inside that they're not willing to share with people around them. So that's the reason why I titled it Tears for My Bride, When Grown Men Cry. And the root of the story is about losing my first wife suddenly to death. And going through those emotions for 3 years, going through a number of different challenges, sleepless nights, painful nights, memories that come back to you, and trying to fight through that without really being opened to somebody that you could rely on to give you the strength that you need as a man. So a lot of those battles I fought on my own. So Tears for My Bride, that book, is basically my life story.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you got, I'm sure you had a wonderful marriage for some years. 15, 16, 17 and almost.
Yeah.
So 7 years of marriage, and losing the bride is not easy. Tell me a little bit about the process, how you handled the pain. What did you do? A person went through a pain. What was the process? How did you naturally react at first?
Yeah. So my first introduction to pain started when I was very young, because I come from a broken home. My dad was an alcoholic, and so I talk about that in the book. But he was a great man. He was a good man, but he was a non-believer. My mom was a believer, so she brought 4 children up in the ways of the Lord. I was the second born, first son, but second born. And so the first introduction to pain was basically when they got divorced. And seeing or going through the pain, the process of a broken home, then been forced to go and live with family just to get to school. And all 4 of us went through that, and we handled the pain differently. I had to become a man at a very young age, what we call the father of the house kind of thing. Just being the father figure to my 2 sisters and my brother. So those were the painful moments of life. Those were the painful seasons that I had to go through. And I had to learn how to become a man before I was ready to become a man. In other words, I don't know what it's like to be a teenager. In my teenage years, I had to become the man that my mother needed and my siblings needed. In other words, I had to think maturely.
How I look for the sources.
Yes, and that's where I was introduced to pain, going through all of those life challenges at a young age, and never sharing my story with anybody. My school friends didn't know about it. They never knew I came from a broken home. I didn't have a confidant at a young age. Everything was just bottled up on the inside. I pretended that we came from a great family. I pretended we had enough money. I dressed neat with the clothes we had, and even though we had to wash it almost every second day just to have clean clothes for school, that's what we did.